guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here hoping that your mind and your heart are thriving. Today we'll be talking about one of my favorite things in the whole entire world. And no, it's not pasta. Today we're going to be talking about plants and plant care. I've had a lot of requests over the years to give advice to my friends about how to take care of plants for first-time plant owners. So I thought today was a really great opportunity to talk about some beginner's tips on how to keep your children alive, which is really the ultimate goal, right? So we'll get into that today. Let's jump into this video. Plants are truly one of my favorite home decor items. Not only are they really beautiful and make a great accent in any room, but they're actually proven to improve the mood, especially when you live somewhere that's not surrounded by nature. For example, I live in a big metropolitan city. The outdoor surroundings are more concrete than they are jungle. So for me, creating this sort of jungly environment in my home, in my bedroom, in my living room really brings a lot of joy to me, and I think it does for a lot of people. Another amazing thing about being a plant owner is it allows you to take care of something besides yourself, which I really enjoy. It's a really fun thing to focus on, and truly, I mean this very genuinely when I say there is no better feeling in the world than seeing a new leaf. You feel like the best mother or father or parental figure ever to have nourished a living thing well enough to produce more of that living thing. Oh my gosh. Like for example, I have this plant right here and she's really growing. This is a new leaf in progress, and look, she's just reaching for wherever she's reaching for. I mean, look at this. I made this happen. What should I name it? Matilda. Good job, Matilda. So for my beginner plant owners, there are several tips that I think are really important to making sure you don't just kill all of the plants that you've spent your hard-earned money on. So tip number one is light. Evaluate the light in the room that you want to put plants in. I think evaluating the needs of the plant is more important than what you think. It's more important than the sort of aesthetic layout of how your plants are going to look in your room. You should probably keep track of how many times I say bright indirect sunlight in this video, because the majority of houseplants that I have, at least, and that are really popular right now, require bright indirect sunlight. That usually means not putting a plant right in front of a window or in direct light where it could burn, but making sure there is some way for it to be filtered and not overwhelm your plant. Light is really important. Google what your plants need and lay them out in your room based on their needs. Plants look good anywhere, so that aesthetic value definitely comes second, I would say. The second tip that I encourage you all to listen to is pot selection. So when you get a plant from a nursery, it's going to come in a plastic plot. It will come in a plastic pot. It'll look a little bit something like this. The plant usually has not outgrown it since it's from the nursery, and it always will have some kind of a drainage hole at the bottom. I cannot emphasize this enough. All of your plant pots need drainage holes. We'll get into watering techniques a little bit later, but it is really important for your water in your plant to have an escape route. We do not want to kill our children. It's important. So when you buy a plant from a nursery, it will come in this nursery pot, which is plastic. And it's totally okay to keep your plant in a grower pot until it outgrows it, especially if you have planters that you like that don't have drainage holes. So for example, this pot that I have, no hole, but because my plant has not yet outgrown its plastic pot, I can just plop it in here and know that it'll be happy, and that'll be fine until my plant is ready to be upgraded to a larger pot. So drainage is really, really important. I kind of cannot stress this enough. So tip number 3 is going to be repotting, knowing when your plant is ready to move on up in the world, have that glow up, and get upgraded to a larger pot. So if you're doing a really good job watering, keeping your plant alive, she's gonna grow. Anytime you're potting a plant, whether you just brought it home from the nursery or it's outgrown the pot you had it in previously, it's really important to size your pot up by several inches in diameter, because we're hoping that your plant will continue to grow, and having a pot that's a little bit larger allows for that excess growth so that you're not repotting every 3 months or something crazy. That will really help you and help your plant have space to truly flourish, for those roots to go down deep. I should also mention that repotting can be a sort of messy and daunting process. I know for me, to be like wrangling with the roots of my plant feels like a somewhat violent and stressful process. So research the nurseries in your area, because a lot of nurseries will repot a plant for you at a very low fee, or sometimes free depending on the size of the plant. Then you just bring your plant who's outgrown her old pot and be like, hey, sir, please, nice gardener man, can you do this messy job for me? Repotting is a whole other video, but you can totally do it at home. Just sometimes you don't want your living room floor to become a pile of dirty, wet soil. Okay, so this is a big one. Step 5. Did I number the last step? The last step was step 4. Step 4, repotting. Step 5, watering. It's really important to remember that plants are pretty resilient. So in general, I would say it's better to have a tendency to underwater rather than overwater. When you overwater your plants, especially if they don't have a drainage hole in their pot, their roots will collect all the excess water and they will have root rot. Root rot is very bad because it is essentially irreversible. So if you're going to have a particular watering technique, underwater, because your plants will communicate to you when they need more of that sweet H2O. Indications that your plant is ready to be watered can sort of vary, but sometimes you'll have a plant whose leaves will really start to droop. Actually, this boy right here, it gets very droopy. If you look at these boys, I should probably water it. If your soil looks really light colored and very dry, that's an indication that your plant needs to be watered. Or if it's been a significant amount of time, your plant is getting sunlight, it's in a happy spot in your room, and it's just not growing, it probably needs some water as well. So pay attention to those sort of natural visual clues of what your plant might be needing. It's really useful to be able to throw all your plants in the bathtub, give them the water they need, and then just not have to think about it for another week or so. Having a watering day is really nice. It definitely gives me a sense of routine, especially in these routineless COVID times. And your plants will thank you for it too. If you're stressed about just evaluating your plant's watering needs solely based on the visual clues, you can get a moisture meter, stick it in your plant, and it will give you an indication of how much moisture the soil is retaining. Also, if you're okay just getting a little dirty, sticking your finger into the soil about 1/2 inch to 2 inches deep, depending on the size of your plant, that's always a good indicator of how your plant is doing too. So if your finger comes out nice and dry and clean, your plant is dry and ready to be watered. If your finger comes out sort of dirty and moist, if it comes out dirty and moist, your plant is still nicely watered and you can give it some time before you come back in with that watering can. The final step that I think is really important, step 6, is just research. If you ever feel overwhelmed by what your plant is doing, if it's not doing anything, whatever, Google it. Make sure you have the sort of nickname of the plant, but also the scientific name so that you can Google what experts have to say about your plant's condition. Google is just lovely. Botanists are lovely people, and there is a whole community online to help you out with any sort of questions or problems that you might have. Another really useful tip for researching your plants is actually an app you can get on your phone. It's called Picture This, and you essentially just take a picture of your plant, and if there's a problem area, you can take a picture of that too. And this app, she's a smart little robot and will tell you what your plant is and what the problem might be. So that's just a kind of fun way, so you're not playing a guessing game with yourself of what's going on with your plant, and that way you can make a plan of action, a prescription for what she might need, and just get her feeling so much better. So I think those are sort of my main overall tips. You want to pay attention to light, pot selection, repotting and when to repot, watering. What? Did I skip number 4? Oh my God, I don't have a number 4. Whatever, watering and research. So that's sort of my overview. That is it for this plant care video. Hopefully I answered all of your questions. Plant care is kind of endless, and again, it just sort of depends on what plants you have. So if you have any questions or you want to send me a picture of a new leaf, which I always love to receive, just drop a comment below and I will check it out. I love plants. I love you guys. If you loved this video, please like, subscribe, do the thing. I hope your plants are happy. I hope you are happy. I hope your mind and your heart are happy. Well, I'm gonna get back to talking to my plant children, maybe talk to a human or two, and hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. See you in the next video. Bye. Say bye, guys. Say bye. Bye. They're waving. Can you? Bye.